Hey guys, it's H4 aka Beardnor himself, and I'm playing a game of Domination on Raid with the Type 25 assault rifle. Pretty early on in my use of the Type 25, I just got a few attachments for it and ran into this game, and I get a nice 4-piece right off the bats, 2 on the flag, 2 off the flag, and that busts me out my UAV right off the bats. And I think that was a good start to this game, but that's not what I want to talk to you guys about. I want to talk to you guys about rules, and new rules, and more rules, and the things that we do when we create rules in our world, in our sports, in our lives. And I was inspired by watching some hockey last night. I watched the Maple Leafs take on the Winnipeg Jets, and I was watching that game, and there was a lot of calls in that game that are based on some new rules that they introduced into hockey this year. And these new rules are pretty light in the sense that they don't involve things that are tripping up players or pushing over players or interfering with players. It's very much rules that they put in that seem to be to do with sportsmanlike conduct is one, and the other one is delaying of game. Now, the two new rules that are in this situation are, one is if the goalie stops the puck and you're the offensive player skating in, you cannot stop in front of the goalie and snow shower him with ice. Now, I understand that this could be, a danger to the goalie, ice chips flying in his face and stuff like that, and it's a little unsportsmanlike because it's kind of a dick move, but I don't understand why they've made it into a penalty. It's a stupid penalty. I know they're just trying to phase it out of the game, and that's fine, but the dumber penalty of the two new ones that I've noticed this year is this whole thing where if you touch your hand to the puck at all, and in a way that's not catching it out of the air and dropping it in front of you, in the way that it's on the ice and your hand touches it, immediate penalty. That's the new thing now, and I think that's a little silly because last night in the game, one of our players fell over. He got knocked into the boards near the puck by a defender, and he didn't touch it. You watch the replay, he didn't touch it at all, and yet he gets called for it. Now, even if he would have touched it and knocked it, up aside, that would have been a hand pass. They would have whistled it down anyway. If he knocks it away and then is able to, touch it himself with his stick and move on, that's cool. If he puts his hand over the puck and actually grips it, now that's already a penalty in the game. But now they're doing it so that if you even just touch it, incidental contact, I should say, anything like that, you get called for a penalty, 2 minutes in the box. And it slows the game down. Everything they did when they changed the NHL was meant to speed up the game. And that's what inspired me about this. That whole thing kind of irritates me. It's a new rule for the sake of a new rule. And that's something that we do as a society all the time. It bothers me so much, and it was just a situation where I saw something that was really obvious example of this, and it drives me nuts. And there's been a lot of examples lately. That whole Sandy Hook thing and the whole assault rifle ban they're trying to push in the States. All these things are rules for the sake of rules. And why do we create new rules? That's something that I wanted to ask myself, and I wanted to talk to you guys about. One of the reasons I think that we create new rules is, out of fear of something. Like something happened, and we fear it happening again, so we make all these new rules and regulations to try and stop that thing from happening again. Now, you would think that usually that's a good reason to make a rule, but a lot of the time, the rules that are made are not well thought out enough, and they're made in haste after something that happened that was bad, and maybe even done in overkill. Like you get something like not to shit on anything that happened during 9/11, but the amount of rules and regulation change after that was sincerely overkill for what actually happened. And if you've been through the airport anytime recently in the States, you'll probably agree that they probably don't need to fill your genitals up for you to fly safely and have a peace of mind going into a flight. Now, that being said, I don't want to get too deep into that, but that's something where, when we create a rule out of fear, you have to keep a calm mind and a thoughtful mind when creating those rules. There's another scenario where we create new rules that I always imagine this in my head when, especially like this new hockey rule, or you get a new rule in school or something like that, or you get a new rule in big business or in government, and it seems like a fluff rule, something that seems like it doesn't make any sense. It's a new law or something that comes in, and it doesn't seem like a big deal at all or even necessary. It's kind of just something that was put on, tacked on, and it's a stipulation or a technicality or something like that. And I always picture some dude sitting at his job, and part of his job is to work on a committee that creates new laws or new rules for something, and this dude is in the shitter with his boss. He is sitting there and, Johnson, you haven't put any good work towards the team. You haven't done anything good for us lately. What do you even need to do here? Why are you even here? Why are we paying you? And that dude's like, he's like, you better step it up, or, we're going to can you, or we're going to ship you off, or you're going to lose your job, or your job's not going to be necessary anymore. And there's some dude there, he's like, oh shit, I better fucking create something. And he creates those fluff rules. That's the dude. I always picture that that's the dude who creates some nonsense rule that doesn't have any place, like pencils can only be this thick or something. It's got to be some ridiculousness. You ever worked at a job where they implemented something from head office and it doesn't make any sense, in your job? This happened to me all the time when I was working at different companies and stuff, where something would come down the pipeline, or you would go to a meeting, like a head office meeting, and see some new plan about how they want to handle customer service or something, and they're like, research says this, or this is some guy we hired in to help us streamline our customer service. And it's always nonsense. It's always stuff that never works in real life. It couldn't work. And that's, people would think you were fake as hell if you actually implemented any of this stuff. They would not even like you, it would be ridiculous. And that's the other side of rule making that bothers me, is that usually there's some ulterior motive underneath it, and that gets into a sinister place if you think about it. When I say we create rules based on fear, you got to think that when things like this happen, if somebody wanted to create a rule, now somebody was like, I think it's, I'll use the assault rifle as an example. If somebody was like, man, how can we take these high-powered assault rifles, away from the public? It's kind of scary to think that, our civilian population is more armed than we are, or as armed as we are. And, you go, well, how are we going to do that? What can we do, right? Then something like Sandy Hook comes along, and you go, jackpot. There's the thing I can use, and we get the media on board with it, especially the media on board with it. We can change this rule, and we can stipulate something. Now, when governments do that, there's definitely someone in the government who wants to do that. There's somebody who thinks that we should bubble wrap the world, and that's what I like to call the Bubblewrap Effect. Where you wish that you could send your kids out to school wrapped in bubble wrap so that if they fell over, they would just bounce. It doesn't work. You can't protect people from everything. You can't bog down. Life would be boring, not creative. It would be, a dull, gray place to live. And I think that that's, not going to work. It's not going to be something where, people are going to want to live like that. But if you create fear, they're going to demand it. They're going to demand their safety and demand new rules and freak out about their children. And that's when you're going to get the ability to make new rules that otherwise society would not accept. And that's a scary thing when you think about it. And I don't think that's a very good way to go about it. And that's lately when I see a lot of rule changes, that's what I've been seeing. I don't know, let me know what you guys think. Let me know any stories you've had where, new rules get put in and, maybe for the wrong reasons, and, where you disagree, maybe at work, maybe at school, maybe at home, maybe just in general. I had a good time playing this game here. I was able to go through my streaks 3 or 4 times and enjoy the game. The game ends here. I go 42-8, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you're new around here, please hit that subscribe button. Check out my last gameplay. It's Revolution Bitch. I was talking about the new DLC on Xbox. And check out the Worm Squirm. Thunder liked it. Thank you. Cheers.